I was on Instagram and man, it's dark. Yeah, sir. Cause I was on Instagram and I saw a video and it was about if you're from South Africa, how they used to advertise stuff, on the TV, you know, and we only had three channels. People across the country only watched three channels. SAPC 1, 2, and 3. And this video was about how they used to advertise things, bro. It was different. Every kid in school knew the advert word by word. Everyone was watching the same thing, right? You watch the same thing the night before, then in the morning you go to school, talk to your friends about it as a kid. You talk about the advert, advertisement. You say it word by word, you do competitions like that. And everyone was watching the same TV shows, same cartoons, movies. It was crazy, man. It was crazy, It was crazy. The only three channels, man. Only three channels. Everyone was watching the same show. Bro, it's crazy. It's insane, right? There were no such things as, like Netflix. No streaming sites, no Instagram, no TikTok, no Wi-Fi. I'm not sure if Wi-Fi was, already, the concepts of Wi-Fi and everything was already in use, but I don't think so. But even if that's the case, people didn't have it back then. No DSTV, no hundreds of channels, just three channels, bruv. SAPC 1, 2, and 3. Mzansi for sure. Freaking, what SAPC 2? What, The World Is Yours? The World Is Yours. I'm not sure if that's new, but and SAPC 3 was no. I don't remember, bruv, but it was insane. It was insane. If you're from South Africa, you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. On during weekdays, they would advertise, shows or movies that were going to play, during the weekends or Friday night. Like maybe Rambo or movies like Steven Seagal movies or Chuck Norris movies. I don't know, man. I don't remember, bro. I was a kid back then, so I was a kid, bro. Like I was a kid. Still my eyes were twitching. I wasn't able to open my eyes fully, but I was watching. I was there. I was there as a baby. Nah, I'm kidding. I was old enough, I could walk, blah blah blah, but it's crazy, man. It's it brings back memories, right? It's nostalgic. Not sure if that's the word. What? Nostalgic. Home. Sense of, yeah, bro. It's the best feeling, man. Remembering, reminiscing, remembering about the past right now. It was fun, man. Back in those days, it was, good times, good times. Bro, I can't imagine how, kids today, kids that were born after, things you know, like social media, like Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that, YouTube. I can't imagine like their lives. They were born into this new technology, born into social media, born into Wi-Fi and things like that. Like, bro, I can't imagine, bro. I mean, I don't know, bro. That's boring, bro. That's boring. By the time you were born, like you already had access to everything. Chat GPT. imagine, imagine being born in 2025, bro. Someone said this on social media. I'm not sure who. I saw this on social media. Bro. Imagine being born in 2025. You missed everything, bro. Everything. You're done. You're cooked. Done. Everything. You didn't get to experience life without, you know, Wi-Fi, life without social media, life without TVs and stuff like that. Your life is boring, bro. Nah, I'm kidding. I wouldn't know. I'm talking from someone with a from a different perspective. Of course I have a a different perspective from yours. If you were born, uh, in these recent years, 2020, whatever, 2015, who cares? But yeah, obviously, people like we have different perspective, bro. We have different perspectives. Now I know I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid. No, I'm not old, bruv. I'm not an old man. I'm still a kid. So maybe someone older than me is watching this, and they're saying the same things to me. But I'm just saying, bruv. I got to experience, like and I got to experience a life with limited resources, limited access to technology, I guess. You know, yeah. But I'm not saying kids today, just they all have access to the internet and technologies, AI and stuff like that. No, there are still kids out there, struggling, that have hard lives, stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's just that times do change, man. Times change, times change. They really do. They really do. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how far we've come. It's crazy how far we've come. It feels like these platforms, TikTok, Instagram, they were they've been around for ages. It's insane, bro. All these things are new, bro. Netflix, these streaming sites, all these things are new, but it feels like it's been ages, bro. Ages. Time is a tricky thing. Time is a tricky thing. Hmm. Well, I'll talk to you later. I was just sharing my thoughts, because of a video I saw on social media. I remember those days. Yeah. Those were the days, my friend. Those were the days. Talk to you later.